So, 3 minutes ago, we will just wait for everyone to woohoo. Hey. How is everybody? So who have we got on here? We have Becca, Lindsay, okay. Matt's on as well. Hello, Matt. 2 minutes to go. Oh, there she is.
Hello, how are you?
Very good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Good. Thought I'd just wait a couple of minutes for everyone to catch up on it. People are kind of maybe running back from work or whatever. So
Exactly. Actually, I think I'm going to switch it back, put my charger on.
yeah, no worries. You got time?
Right.
Oh.
No, it's not going to work. I'll do that if I get desperate later. It's not
Are you out
long
of battery?
Anyway.
Are you out of battery?
I've got about 40%. It's enough, isn't it?
It's enough. I'll try and be quick.
Half an hour. Look, if it's a problem, I just move over towards the plug. It's fine.
Sure.
Put it resting on something but if I've got the plug underneath, it won't rest. But it's fine.
Cool. All good. Right. Oh, we're 6. We're bang on. Okay, so might as well start while everyone's here. So thank you very much, Jeannette, for joining us on the live. For those of you who somehow don't know Jeannette, she is a best-selling author and author of The Gut Makeover, a nutritional therapist who brings a lot of experience, but also, yes, the book, author of The Gut Makeover, and some refreshing insights. I do always cite Jeannette for one of the people that influenced the way I kind of see nutrition and the wider topic of gut bacteria and gut health beyond just calories. So I guess if we kind of just look at the landscape of where we are at the moment, everyone's speaking about obesity and what's contributing to it, what's causing it. In your experience, what would you say? Why are we where we are, and what would you say is contributing towards the obesity pandemic, in your opinion?
God, that's a massive question.
It's massive.
I mean, there's so many influences on where we are. I mean, if you were just to look at gut health, one part of it would be the overuse of antibiotics. That
Absolutely.
kills a lot of the good bacteria in your gut. And when that happens, it influences your hunger hormones. So you're likely to feel hungry a lot of the time and not really notice when you're feeling full up.
Sure.
Really tiny example, but all I'm saying is I think with obesity, there's this message from big food the whole time that basically we're all sloths and we can't control ourselves and we're eating their rubbish because all they are, they're instantly providing stuff. And that's the other problem, is that the food is laced with sugar, like really very all the same color, like the beige color, the cornflakes, the bread, the Pringles or whatever. And it's salty and it's crispy. And so basically there's all these ultra processed foods which are appealing to us as well. And then if you add on top of that, that a lot of us don't move very much.
Yep.
But it is because you've got to earn a living, right? And
Yep.
a lot of us are desk-based, and you're on these devices all day long, so you're not moving.
Yep.
You add on that stress, maybe not sleeping very well. Do you see what I mean? And of course, and then you end up where we are now. So it's not just one thing, but it's it's almost like at the moment we are primed for becoming obese. And I think I said this to you before, in the medical world now, it's not that you are obese, it's that you have obesity. It's a disease.
Yeah.
But it is a result, I think, of the landscape that we're living in. And a lot of the things that I just mentioned all deplete your gut bacteria and basically set you up to be pretty hungry and low energy.
Yeah. Very true. And my background as well, having been obese myself, I always speak to some of my clients that I work with that have obesity. And interestingly, every time they try and tackle obesity as just a food problem, they relapse and fail because it's nuanced and because there's a wider picture. So they've been brainwashed into thinking that you are obese simply because you eat too much and love food. So they think, oh, if I just reduce food, that's going to help. And they just rebound and get progressively heavier. And so, there's definitely more to it. And I think it's right to be treated as a disease because of the pandemic. And to reverse it, to be honest, I think we just need more understanding of it, because I find a lot, especially social media, it's very, very noisy. People just try and tackle it from they want to oversimplify it to say, do this. But as you said, it's multifaceted. And I guess on that, because obviously for the person to gain weight, they typically have to be consuming more than they burn. And that kind of brings in the whole calories debate. Again, there's a lot of noise on social media. I myself always say that calories are part of the equation, but not everything. In your view, why would you say that calories are only part of the picture?
Look, if you're having 10,000 calories a day, it would be very difficult not to be weight. So I'm not discounting calories altogether.
Mm.
But let's say, you were, I don't know what the analogy is, I'm going to make one up out of nowhere, but you were in a relationship with somebody and you ended it. It probably wouldn't be the thing that they turned you up one night.
Mm-hmm.
Probably be about 20, 30 recurring sort of unhealthy behaviours led to it not being sustainable.
Sure.
I think that with weight, calories is one element of it. If you think about it, there's probably another dozen things in there. Okay?
Sure.
So you have to know, why is somebody overeating? So I don't want to probably know. I try to really help people get back to being able to listen and hear their own hunger signal. And I think a lot of the problem is, and this has been proven in science as well, is that we're eating around the clock, and we are not having sort of downtime from eating in between, and the result is we just can't even hear the signals for when we really, really are hungry or when we really are full up.
Yeah.
So it's also like if you were to eat, let's say, asparagus, which is in season at the moment, and you grate Parmesan cheese over it, it's quite difficult to overeat a food like that.
Absolutely.
It's really difficult. I mean, the cheese will have quite a few calories and all the rest of it, and you might put some olive oil over it, but you should, because there's a lot of fibre in it, and the colour in it, the green polyphenol, plant chemicals, the feed good bacteria. And it should make you feel full. There will only be so much asparagus you can eat.
Absolutely,
Where
absolutely.
if you handed me a packet of Pringles, there's no stop button.
Too right.
There is, with me in particular, there would be a stop button. So then you talk about people, should they be counting calories? It's like, well, actually, I'd be getting your food environment sorted out. So in my particular case, I don't have any of the, I love kettle chips as well. I don't have them in my house. They are like really dangerous foods for me
Yeah.
to okay. So it's like I just don't have them in my house. I've got a 21-year-old son, and I have been known to come down into the kitchen in the morning, and he has left half a bag of, kettle chips or something like that. And I will just eat breakfast. What am I doing? They're very, very addictive.
Yeah.
So to control that, I try to make me feel full up, have good things in the house. I can't reach that stuff. I do feel for people, by the way, I work for myself, so I work from home a lot of the time. I really feel for people who are in offices where the M&S cake coming in halfway through the afternoon, and the bags of sweets and the vending machines and all that kind of thing. There's even doctors who work in hospitals or in food deserts, quite often they're having to eat. So rather than spend all your energy and time counting calories, I would be looking at things like get some good stuff in your home to eat and plan your meals, really, really boring basic stuff. Write a list of meals you like. And also, if you're going to be out and about, try and take some better stuff with it, even if it's an apple or a bag of peanuts or crisps. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It's very obvious stuff, but doesn't sell people. I can't sell you loads of supplements and protein shakes.
Exactly. It's not. There's no commercial rationale for it. I think that you raised two really good points. The first is keeping your environment clear. I always tell my clients that I'm really disciplined with food, but if my cupboards are full of stuff, it just takes me feeling tired or fatigued, and if I can grab it at arm's length, I'm going to have it. But if my environment, at the moment now, my environment's clear. So it means that there are more obstacles to me actually going to get the food. I have to go out of my way. And it means that probably half of the time, I avoid choices that are maybe ultra processed. And a great point, which I guess people miss out on, the thing you said about, in your book, actually, you mentioned about crowding out food. And that's really the tactic that I go with some of my larger clients who have obesity. They almost don't know moderation. They can't. You start trying to give them War and Peace about portion sizes and all the rest of it. That's like step 3 or 4. The first thing I do is say, hey, how much fiber, how much fruit and veg in your diet? They introduce that stuff in, and they find that they lose about 20 to 30% of their calorie intake straight away, because it is harder to overeat broccoli and Jerusalem artichoke than it is chips or crisps. So I think the strategy, really, one of them has to be, rather than elimination, actually say, why don't you introduce more variety into your diet? That's kind of I find a very successful strategy that I've used kind of over the years. So it's not an either or. Moving on to the either or, because the fitness industry seems to be polarized with these extreme views, and it seems like the balanced message won't do very well on the algorithm, but suddenly you say carbs are the demon and sugar's the demon, and all of a sudden you get 4 million followers. What's your view on people like Eddie Abu? Obviously, a lot of people know him. He's kind of almost come from nowhere and is now being seen as like the face of good nutrition. In your experience, do you like his style, or are there things that you're not a massive fan of?
We spoke the other day, I hadn't ever heard of him. So I did follow. I very quickly was feeling quite upset by some things I was seeing. So the 12 eggs for breakfast, I don't know. But then, like today, something came on my feed He was in a supermarket, he had some chicken in the basket, he had a whole load of fruit and vegetables, and he was basically saying, you know, for 10 quid you can get all these things and cook 3 meals. So do you know what I mean? I think it sounds to me like you're kind of cherry picking there what's being said. But coming back to those algorithms, it's so frustrating because, I mean, I recently, I used to follow 1,300 people and I whittled it down to 200, literally, and Instagram won't let you shed loads of people at the same time. You have to do like 100 a day over several days. But I did it because my feed was, I just felt so anxious every time. And also that there are lies on there as well,
Yeah.
which people say, you know, in a podcast, because they'll know that it'll get clips, and then they'll looking at it. Because if I just say to you, for instance, one of the best ways to get going with, let's say, your weight, one of the things, this is where I start with people, and they're quite shocked sometimes. I say, for the first 2 weeks, I just want you to eat an apple every day. I would like you to walk 10,000 steps.
Yeah.
And these are usually people who have been battling with weight for a long time and are, they're not at the point they could come and see you, for instance. You know, they're not, because they're not moving at all. And they come back after 2 weeks and they go, oh, I lost 2 kilos. Can you believe that? Just eating an apple, because the thing.
Yeah.
And the 10,000 steps quite difficult if you are like only doing a few hundred every day.
Really hard.
People are having to literally go, oh, I had to find excuses to go out of the house. I had to go and pick up the dry cleaning, or, you know, go and buy a pint of milk, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So, but I'm just saying those kind of messages don't go viral. So Rebecca, Eddie. So look, all I'm saying is, when you go on social media, you have got to just have your wits about you, right? Oh, and also people are trying to flog you a load of stuff subtly in the background. And I'm back to all the supplements and the protein shakes. I don't know what Eddie says about those, by the way, but at least he's in with real food, with a trolley. I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's a good thing.
He's not. The thing is, I initially followed him and I was kind of, I liked his message. Initially, I was like, eat real food, yeah, I'm all for that, whole foods. But then the more I listen to him, the more he does demonize foods. And a lot of my clients, they do have disordered eating. And so when he's saying stuff like sugar causes diabetes and bread is bad for you, and sometimes, you know, in his day, he's had like 2 portions of fruit and veg and been like, oh, can't have too much sugar. And I just think, well, your diet's not balanced then, is it? Because you never put up anything on your biomarkers. I don't know what 16 eggs is doing for you at the age of 60. But I just think this idea of demonizing foods.
Yeah, totally agree.
I think it's more about crowding out. So I always tell my clients, if you're doing 80 to 90% whole foods unprocessed, 10 to 20% alcohol, cheesecake, whatever it is, as long as it's minimized, you don't need to eliminate. I think the message for me, for like long term, because I speak about my story all the time, that I was an obese teenager. 20 years later, I kind of maintained a healthy weight, and that's largely because I haven't eliminated. I've just minimized. I've increased the whole food intake, fruit and veg, go towards like 6-7 portions a day, and then if once every week or 10 days I want to have something, there's no guilt attached because it's part of a balanced diet. So. Yeah, I don't like extreme views, and I think it's not an either or. It's kind of a both. But unfortunately, it doesn't do well on the algorithm. On extreme diets, plant-based is quite big at the moment. Everyone's pushing plant-based as like the way forward. Less red meat, better for the environment, better for your health. Plant-based in the raw form of like veganism. Would you say it is the healthiest and most balanced diet to follow?
Again, so I'm all for eating less meat and less, you know, farmed fish as well. Though that doesn't sound like it's particularly in the industry. You know, eat the best eggs I can. I try and eat more soya nowadays. Soya's got as much protein as the animal milks, by the way. So I'm very keen on all those nut milks, you know, because they only got 2% protein in them. This basically
Yeah.
and nutritionally you're not getting a lot, and you're more likely to overeat because you're hungry.
Sure.
So you know, I think I try and have more soy in my diet, but I don't go for all this ultra processed, you know, like the vegan all that kind of. All I'm saying is if you're not careful and you go vegan for the right reason, you could end up with an absolutely atrocious, highly processed, nasty diet, which, coming back, I'm always talking about your microbiome, the gut bacteria, which influences your immune system and your mood and your skin, and also how hungry you are. If you're eating a lot of those emulsifiers that are in things like the processed sausages, some of those nut milks as well, but basically they've been shown on animal studies to cause a lot of inflammation.
Yes.
So you know, you don't want to with terrible gut issues and developing an autoimmune disorder. I mean, I know I'm talking extremes, but you just got to be so careful. So, yeah, I'm all for. The thing is, read labels. Yeah, but yeah, personally, I wouldn't go all the way vegan. I just, you know, I think it may be a bit too extreme, and also people tend to. The vegans that I've worked with have usually, one of the big areas, you probably know this from them as well, as like not eating enough protein. It's really difficult protein, and you need the protein to build lean muscle, right? And I'm as soon as you get over 40, it gets even more important, the muscle stuff, because you know you lose, I think it is a kilo every 10 years is where.
Yeah, and that's metabolism, that's everything. Yeah, so it's important.
So if you want to age really, really well, the protein thing's really important. So yeah, that's my view on the plant thing. There's a lot of booby traps there, I think.
Sure, and I also think, like, I did for YouTube, I did a vegan for a week video, and I found some of the stuff I was eating had like 22 ingredients in, and someone asked me, did I feel a difference on the vegan diet for a week? And I said no, because I take, you know, eating meat, bar the meat part, I take all the good bits out of veganism. You know, I have all the minimal processed. I eat the soy, I eat the beans and the pulses, I eat 5 to 7 portions of fruit and veg a day. So most people feel the difference in veganism because they come from going ultra processed to veganism. It's quite a big switch. If you're already doing a lot of the good stuff, I actually think you are losing out because you're then eliminating from your diet. So I think it's more about what your diet has beforehand than what it has afterwards, kind of thing, you know, whether you feel the benefit or not. On dieting, a lot of people kind of say that I can't, you know, veganism, all this kind of stuff. I'd love to do it. I'd love to eat healthier, but eating well is so expensive. And that's the part of the reason we're in an obesity crisis, because people cannot afford to eat well. If someone came to you with that problem, Joe Blogs here, not someone, you know, generally below the breadline. Joe Blogs came to you saying it's too expensive to eat well. How would you respond to them?
The very first thing I would do is I would make a list of meals for you to cook. I'd need to know what your cooking skills are.
Sure.
Brainstorm together what that list is, and then see what all the ingredients I need to buy and cook them. Cooking from scratch, you can eat cheaply. It's people have got the time and the energy to do it and the skills. But it is like anything. It's like exercise. You know, like the more you do, the stronger you get, and the easier, the further you push yourself, and the better you get. Exactly the same with cooking. And so, you know, that example I just get, I really need to sort of brainstorm and work with you on where, with how you can. But it is like, you and I were living in the London area, right?
Yeah.
You know, we've got the Aldi's, we've got the, you know, Lidl's, we've got the pound, you know, for a bowl for £1 on the street corners, you know, with the, you know, the aubergines, 6 of them, you know, a thing of tomatoes that big. Obviously, you're not getting the same supermarket. There's something about the time thing. There's a bit more sort of like when you're passing there, picking up those things, and when you go, it's more time. But if you can get into that, it is possible to eat. You know, there's some great dishes, but like, you know, cook a cauliflower and some jacket potato,
Yep.
delicious meal personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've never been taught how to make a white sauce. You know what I mean? And when I make a white sauce, I usually do it with the soya milk now. There's I started doing that because actually my daughter had a lactose intolerance, but it's like less fatty now. I don't know. There's all sorts of things you can do, but it's. Do you see what I mean about
Yeah, absolutely.
time
I think
skills and also the having the headspace to plan this stuff?
and again, you know, with all of these things, there's always going to be the anomaly who genuinely, you know, is below the breadline. I'm not talking about these people. For the vast majority of people that have jobs, my personal view, controversial or not, I think the people that say it's expensive to eat well are trying to eat well with convenience.
I got
So
you.
it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I want to, you know, it's expensive to eat well. I want to be able to make a meal. I want it to be quick. I want it to be easy. I want to be able to get everything from one shop. And it's like, well, no, if you haven't got as much disposable, you can't have healthy eating and convenience. But if you're willing to do a bit of legwork, like you said, maybe shop around, maybe batch cook, maybe mix and match of what's in your cupboard, I think you can eat really well. I'll give the example all the time. I was working part time in university. You know, what? I can't remember. I was probably earning like £500 a month. Back then, I was still able to do the same sort of diet now. I just had to go to the markets for some of my fruit and veg. I had to maybe go to the butchers and buy in bulk. You know, it took a bit more thinking, but it was doable, and I was earning peanuts. So I'm like, when someone says I can't afford to eat well, and I'm like, well, you probably could if you just put a bit of thought into it, but it's not going to happen conveniently. If you know, if you need to be a bit more smart about how you do things, but there's more than enough resource out there.
Yeah, and I mean all the beans and pulses are very, very cheap as well, aren't they? But
Absolutely.
nice recipe to use. It's like I've got at some point I've learned this chickpea, aubergine, and potato curry. It's about, but you need to have a decent spice rack.
Sure.
By the way, that's another thing. I know that from my son who's a student. He's like, when he was in a hall of residence, he was like, well, mum, you know, for me just to cook a curry is really expensive because I don't already have the turmeric and
Yes. Yes.
the you know, coriander, and you know what I mean. So
Sure.
it's very easy. I'm just saying it's a project. You have to build it up. It's like having a book collection or something.
Yes.
Getting into it, you know, you have to start investing bits of herbs and spices, build up a little cupboard because it's going to taste so much better. It's good for your microbiome, feeds all the good bacteria. Your fill, it would be good for your immune system and stuff. But yeah, I do take it on board. It is work,
Yeah.
self-care.
Absolutely.
It's your life. It's no, that's what you're working on.
Definitely. Got to look after yourself. And so I guess gut health is like the big thing. We now know from the science that the gut has been dubbed the second brain, and the link with mental health and kind of a healthier gut is now a well-known thing. If you were to speak to someone now who is perhaps bloated or struggling with IBS or anything like that, and you were just given like 2 or 3 like really simple tips to begin to improve their gut health, what would you recommend?
Well, for the bloat, your you know, your stool patterns just, you know, one way or the other. There's two, and again, following are not. There's two things I would do. Number one, I would stop any late eating at night, push your eating window forward. In my gut makeover, I say eat in a 12-hour window. But then I wrote another book, which was
Oh, yes, the 10 hour diet. Yeah,
it's basically all the science and the benefits of basically eating earlier in the day, front loading the day. So you mustn't eat after 8 p.m. and then, or let's say you stopped eating at 6 p.m. Then you have 14 hours overnight, and basically the whole digestive system has a chance to rest and recover.
Right.
And if you do that over a few days, often people find the bloating does settle, the whole digestive system can settle down just by bringing that eating forward, because the body's not designed to be eating late at night and trying to cool down. It's like, it's a huge stress on the body.
Sure.
So it doesn't cost any money to do that. It takes a bit of organisation. Just try and get your main some like tea time kind of food at 6, like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing, it's a really small thing, but the first thing I do if someone's like bloated and the bowel's not moving, do you ever buy flax seeds, ground flax seeds?
Yes.
Basically, you need to put those in some either live yogurt or go and buy some kefir and have that over a few days, because you've got prebiotics which are in the flax seeds and probiotics in like the yogurt, and both those things then sort of help the microbiome get back in balance again.
Sure. Yeah, 2 simple things. There you go, guys, that you can use and implement from today. So yeah, it's been really helpful. If someone were to be, if you prick someone's interest and they want to find you or learn more, where can they find you or contact you? Have you got any programs or anything like that that you run or promote?
Well, my Instagram account has got a link on it, and that will take you to something which is called Substack. So Substack, if you don't know about it, is basically like a platform where I write a weekly letter, and I'm like on gut health on there. So it's like, if you just want loads of tips, the latest on everything to do with gut, I'm writing on there, and also my own website, Jeannette Hyde. But yeah, if you start the Instagram, that's probably the best place to start.
Yeah, great. And I would, again, I hate to plug this book, but for insights to suck eggs on gut health, this or the 10-hour diet, I would definitely recommend to kind of start to prick your interest and learn a little bit more about gut health. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us, Jeannette. It's been a pleasure having you, and I have found your insights really refreshing, and I hope everyone else has as well. Hopefully speak to you very soon.
Thanks so much for the opportunity, and it's lovely to.
Indeed. Take care.
Thank you.
See ya. Bye.